Hello, everybody. It's Matthew Orr from Wet Ink Games, and I'm here today joined by Michele Lee. She's a author of the paranormal romance series Cursed and a few other things. She's also written for some of the missions for Never Going Home. She's a GM and a veterinary technician. So, Michele, welcome to this little interview.
Hi.
Great. So, Michele, we want to get your opinion on some splits, some big rifts in nerd culture. What side do you come down on with these things? All right.
Okay.
So I've hopefully tailored them to your interests so that you'll have a good, strong opinion about them. So,
Okay.
Brotherhood of the Wolf or Ginger Snaps?
Ginger snaps. Girl power all the way.
You got, is it Hocus Pocus or The Craft? Which one?
Hocus Pocus. I'm sorry, I like the camp. I love Bette Midler.
It's great. 1958's The Vikings or 2003's Vikings?
I'm going to go with 1958. They're probably both about as accurate.
All right. And you could, I don't know why this one came to mind, but I want to ask you, Kirk or Spock?
Spock. I prefer an honest man.
All right. That's good. That's good. And I know you garden, so eggplants or bell peppers?
Bell peppers.
Excellent. All right. Important issues resolved. This is where Michele stands, everyone. So you've written both fantasy, urban fantasy novels, and you've written some role-playing game stuff. And I know you're an avid reader, and you're a player and a GM. So like, what's the Venn diagram look like for you about like writing fiction and writing role-playing games? Like, can you talk about that for us?
Fiction is more like masturbation versus role-playing games is like cooperative sex.
All right.
It's when you're writing role-playing games, you're very much you really want to keep your audience way more in mind and make sure that you're explaining things to them and engaging them more directly. And when you're writing fiction, you're presenting a story, and hypothetically, your audience is already into that kind of story. You don't have to necessarily explain that this is science fiction or anything like this. You only have to explain the things that they need to know for the story. Whereas, like I said, role-playing games, you have to really, really keep them more. It's more cooperative.
Sure. You get the input from like it's sort of like the role-playing game is like, you know that the other person is going to participate, so you have to leave that space for them to participate.
Well, and for them,
go ahead.
Yeah, for them to make it their own as well, for them to add their own drama or goofiness if that's what they want. You have to give them space to also own part of the cooperative experience.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Thanks. That's a great answer. All right. So you've been a GM at GenCon for 2 years at least. I maybe before, but definitely running Never Going Home, and I think you ran some Wild Skies last year. At GenCon in person with the crowds and the traveling to Indianapolis and the standing in line for the food trucks and all of that. And then you also ran some games for us this year out of the comfort of your own home. So can you talk about like the experience this year in particular, and maybe the compare and contrast if you want a little bit, but what was it like to be a participant in an online con in that way?
I really missed the cosplayers. That's one of my favorite parts of Gen Con is all the really good cosplayers. I certainly saved a lot of money by running just online. I bought significantly fewer items, significantly fewer mugs of dice. from Chessex booths. That was kind of my favorite go-to. I was really, going into it, I was concerned about how we were going to do dice rolls, and, you know, especially with Never Going Home has the dice and the cards.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the technical issues. There were storms rolling through at one point. Am I going to lose my connection? Stuff like that. But I did run I ran the first 3 missions from the upcoming Tears in the Sea dossier. So I was impressed that we got through 3 of them in 4 hours. That was pretty good. And you know, my connection held. Everybody had fun. For the most part, we had a couple moments where somebody froze, you know, on the feed and everything. But other than that, and I had way more options as far as the dice rollers and everything than I realized I had. We had, you know, Discord. I could just let people roll on their own and just take their word for it. We had Google Meets, and we ended up using a website, the playcards.io, which we had one of our other authors had set up with, you know, like there's the little Never Going Home guy on the cards and stuff like that. So that was really nice. And I felt that, you know, maybe there was a connection made between the game and the actual visual representation.
Yeah, that's cool.
Last year, like, I could immediately tell everybody, yeah, go to the dealer room and buy the game. And a lot of people did, because we sold out last year. So it, you know, they must have enjoyed it. It kind of sucked not being able to do that this year. But a lot of people had already purchased it, and they wanted to run it, but they wanted to play a game before they ran it with their friends. So, yeah, I'm glad I was able to, you know, help them with that, get an idea of what it was like.
Yeah, that's great. That's neat. And did you get, I was going to ask you, like you said like, people had fun. That's good. Introducing new players. Are there any particular, like, this was the moment from one of the games that, like, this is the highlight. This is the one I want to tell you about that happened.
No, but I did have one of the people who played last year with me face to face in Gen Con did sign up to play another game, to play the Tears in the Sea game with me this year. And last year, he went into it a little bit cautious, because last year his character had failed every corruption check.
Oh my!
And ended up in a short game, you know, in a one-shot game, and the game ended up with him turning around and killing all the other players.
Oh my! Because
he had gotten corrupted. So this year he was like, maybe I don't want to get corrupted, and he managed not to. So
well, there you go.
Yeah. So that was kind of, and the funny thing was last year my daughter had also played in the game, and he ended up killing her character. And this year, you know, he couldn't. So that was nice. Yeah. It's nice. I ran 2 games online, and I did have a player that was in both games. And that player had also been in a game that my daughter ran this year too. So that was nice. It was somebody who played 3 different games with us.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing. They can't get enough, I guess.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. So I want to ask you also, I was going to ask you, I was just thinking, did you do anything else with the Gen Con stuff? Did you go visit the Looking Glass and see the sort of online dealers hall? Did you do any seminars? Did you do any other things with GenCon Online?
I watched some online crafting seminars.
Okay.
That there was some people that I started following last year after Gen Con, and some of them posted their seminars, their how-tos. There was a how to chainmail.
Okay.
That was a fun one. Yeah. So yeah, I watched a couple of crafting seminars.
Awesome. Awesome. You going to make any chainmail now? You think you can?
That is the plan eventually. I already crochet.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so it's
I'm
sort
hoping
of broadly similar, right?
right. Hopefully it's
Well, you're familiar with like making stuff that has to change the size to like go over the shoulder and then up the neck, and like that's probably the same sort of brain stuff as crocheting, right?
Right.
Cool. All right. So Michele, what else do you have on deck for you? What's coming up next that you will be out there with your name on it that you want to tell us about?
So I'm working with a couple more projects from you guys. I'm working with the Dark Places and Demigorgons, and the 5th edition
right our
adjustment that we're doing, and the Heckin' Good Doggos, which I'm ridiculously excited about that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I have a couple of things. I'm writing Dungeon Crawler Classic scenarios with Eric Bloat from Bloat Games.
Cool.
So I have a couple of those. My daughter and I wrote one together, and then he has another one he's having me work on.
Awesome.
And he's also, of course, involved with the Dark Places and Demigorgons because that's his baby.
That's his baby, right? He's trusted us to bring her up right a little bit here.
As for what I have on the side, I write fiction, of course. The day job has been pretty crazy because you'd think with Corona that it would be slow, but no, apparently everybody's getting puppies and kittens.
Ah, yes.
So we have been ridiculously crazy, insanely. So all the writing stuff has kind of taken a back seat until that settles down more. So, I don't know what that's doing to my deadlines, but so primarily I have...
Deadlines are set to be pushed back. That's how they work.
Yeah, it really seems that way. Yeah.
All right. You ready to do a 5-minute pitch-o-rama with me about a game?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. What's your game?
I didn't want to cut you off. If you have any other thing you want to share first about the things you're up to. Okay. So we're gonna get the timer ready. All right. So I think we can figure out some way to do this. I think we can make a dating sim, but it's like for animals. So like, that's it. Like that's it. Like what kind of game is it going to be? What are we going to do? Like, I'm almost thinking like,
so you need to decide right now. Are we doing like actual breeding, or are we just doing like play dates and stuff?
I don't know. I mean, that's maybe that's the expansion set, right? I think there's 2 levels of this game, right? There's like
so you're not looking Tinder, you're looking like Facebook.
I don't know anything about dating apps, so I'll just take your word for it. But like but their dating sims is like a genre of games. But like, I imagine that most of them aren't focused on like what the interests of like little cute animal like pets would be. There's a different set than like of things.
So you would definitely want one of your stats to be smell.
Ooh, okay, I like it.
What the person smells like, or what the other animal smells like. And certainly you should have different classifications on whether they are a carnivore or an omnivore or an herbivore.
Diet is important. Yeah.
It's not unheard of for them to be able to get along, but it could affect things.
It could. And like, and I'm thinking like, this isn't like anthropomorphic animals. I think this is like mostly like very animals, maybe with, so it really would affect things like what if you go push over a trash can at midnight or whatever, like what you're interested in inside is really going to be different. I guess like
right.
Lady and the Tramp style, right? They're characters fully realized with personalities, but they're also animals. They're not. This isn't
right.
or
One of the things you will be very surprised by is in this kind of thing, you would want your reptiles would be very drawn to dogs and cats.
That's right. You
Because
have a bearded dragon, right? That gets along
I
very well
do.
with your other creatures, right?
And she will definitely leave. She will refuse to cuddle with us and cuddle with the dogs instead, because the dogs have a higher natural body temperature.
Yeah.
So they are actually warmer than us.
I was just thinking through it. I was like, well, of course they'll like the dog better. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's a really cool element to it. So trying to make some of these elements that you've talked about into like a game, I'm almost imagining like you'd almost have like cards with stats on them or whatever, and then like you'd be matching them up somehow, but also like, I don't know if it's just like a card game. It kind of want to have some role playing involved in there somehow, I would think, but I don't know. I don't know what the best way to kind of like start to line that up. Like, would it be almost like you probably wouldn't want to have anything that was guaranteed incompatible, right? Just things that matched less well across the different things. I don't know. Would you?
Then you'd end up with a party of all bards, you know.
You know, in 5e, you go to the College of Valor and the College of Wisdom. You get some pretty different bards, and you do multi-class with a couple other things. It could work. It could work.
See, you would think like that. It would start with a game where it would be about maybe fulfilling all those roles that you need in a party, but maybe not. No one is a good fit for any one thing.
No one is a good fit. Like it's
no one is a good fit. Everybody has a lot of limitations, so it's about coming up with the best options that you can. There'd be no min-maxing.
Right. I think
it's almost like like everybody would be min-minning and seeing how well you could meet the challenges.
Are you familiar with the role-playing concept of playing to fail? Like
yes.
So I think there would possibly be an element of that in this game where like I'm not here to have my character succeed. I'm here to have my character be a spectacular wreck.
Yes.
That might be cathartic for some people.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and certainly could be fun.
That was our 5 minutes, so it could be fun. I like it. So if we want to keep talking, we can. But that's all the people get right now. 5 minutes. Some cool ideas. All right, Michele, thank you so much for doing this interview with me today. If there's anything else you got, the final send off to the folks that are watching.
Hug your dogs and cats for me.
Hug your dogs and cats. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll talk to you again the next time.